Hello and welcome to another battle report. This is the second match played, Empire versus Ogre Kingdoms, 2,000 points. For this match, we actually reversed it. I played as the Ogres and Mike used my Empire army against me. We rolled up Dawn Attack. The deployment may seem a little fuzzy. That's because a lot of the units were dictated to come in on one side or the other based on the outcome of their roll on the, what sides for Dawn Attack. It's the same army as before. I'll actually talk through it in a bit. Here's just another angle for all the terrain. The woods are all mysterious woods. The Ogre army has a Sabertusk, 10 Bulls with the Slaughtermaster, Crown of Command, and the Fencer's Blades, and 9 Iron Guts with the BSB. 3 Mournfang with the Dragonhide Banner and Iron Blaster, 2 more Sabertusks, and a Scrap Launcher. On the Empire side, 3 Demigryph Knights with a Musician, the Celestial Hurricanum, 5 Pistoliers, Hellblaster Volley Gun, 9 Knights with a Warrior Priest. The Knights have the Steel Standard, and the Warrior Priest has a 1-up armor save, the Crown of Command, and will reroll his first failed armor save. 24 Greatswords with a Warrior Priest and a level 4 Wizard with a 4-up ward save. 29 Swordsmen with the Captain, who's the BSB, wielding a great weapon, wearing the armor of Meteoric Iron. The Greatswords has a detachment of 5 archers. This is after Vanguard movement. The Sabertusk declare a charge on the Pistoliers. They stand and shoot but miss. The Mournfangs, the Iron Fangs, and the Bulls all move up like so. Turn 1 shooting, the Iron Blaster destroys the Hellblaster Volley Gun, and the Scrap Launcher kills 1 Knight. Here's a close-up of this combat. The 2 Sabertusks kill 2 Pistoliers who break, however they do not catch them, and they get away. Here's the start of Empire. Over here, the Pistoliers rally. They then shoot and kill one of the Sabertusks. Everyone else moves up like so. Since I don't have a movement tray for those knights, they're actually on top of the hill where the Warrior Priest and that other knight mark the leftmost edge of the unit, and the rest of them are on the table because we couldn't fit them up there without them falling down. Here's another closer angle of that. In the magic phase, he gets Pit of Shades off Irresistibly, the large template. It does not scatter. It lands directly on the Iron Gut unit, kills the BSB and the majority of the unit. Kind of familiar if you watch the other battle report in which I played as Empire. The other Sabertusk is killed by shooting. And here's the beginning of Ogre's turn 2. The Mournfang charge into the Knights on the hill. Remember that the Mournfang are actually up on the top of the hill as well, but there's no way we were going to get them to stand up there, so we just positioned them against the Knights on the bottom of the hill, and we're using our imagination. The Iron Guts move in front of the Bulls unit to just sort of act as a buffer. What I'm thinking here is that if Demigryphs attack them, I'll flee, but I'll bounce through and they'll just go into the Bulls, which is not a great matchup, but I'm hoping that in the Magic phase I can sort of push that in my favor. Here's that Sabertusk fleeing from the I forget what I did with him. I think I might have moved him up to threaten the Swordsman. He might have charged them, failed to charge, and that's why he's fleeing. Either way, the Sabertusk, I don't know if he rallied or not, but he didn't affect the battle. Here's a shot of the combat on the hill between the Mournfang and the Knights. And here's what this side of the board looks like. In Magic phase, I get Bullgorger off on the Mournfang. That means the Mournfang themselves are strength 6 and the Ogres riding them are strength 5. In the shooting phase, the Scrap Launcher lands on target in the middle of the Greatswords unit, kills a bunch of them. And the Iron Blaster misfires, destroys its cannon, and can no longer shoot for the remainder of the game. It's still a chariot, it's still a pretty nasty chariot, but it just isn't a shooting chariot. Here in this combat, the Knights put 1 wound on the Mournfang, and the Mournfang go to town. The Dragonhide Banner is really a phenomenal standard. Rerolling all 1s is very powerful on the turn that they charge. I don't think I used the breath weapon, but it does it also has a strength 4 breath weapon that causes the affected unit to always strike last. Since these knights were getting pretty much beaten to heck, that was kind of a waste, so I held it. And the knights break and are run down by the Mournfang. Here's what the board looks like at the beginning of Empire turn 2. The Demigryphs charge the Iron Guts, they flee, bounce through the unit, passes their check, and the Demigryphs redirect into the unit of Bulls with the Slaughtermaster. The Swordsmen declare a charge against the Mournfang and actually make it in. It's kind of a long charge, but they roll well and they get in. The Greatswords were a little further back, so they just move up, getting ready to do a flank charge on the Mournfang. Use slides. Yeah, I caused several wounds. I caused 1 wound to the Dem. Those Bulls hold. Turn 3, the Sabertusk flank charges the unit of Swordsmen on the hill, and the Mournfang rally. During my magic phase, I attempt to cast Bull Gorge with I 3 dice. I get Irresistible Force, and the Slaughtermaster is sucked into the warp, in addition to doing a bunch of wounds to the Bulls in that unit. This is pretty terrible. I mean, if I could get the Ogres up to Strength 5, they can, actually challenge the Demigryphs. If I can get them to Toughness 5, then they're likely to survive. And if I can get Regen or, anything else off, I think I didn't have Troll Vets. I think I had something else. But even so, just Strength 5 and Toughness 5, that's a real big boost to the effectiveness of that unit, especially against something with high armor like the Demigryphs. But without the level 4, this game is going to be really, really difficult. And the Swordsman cause 1 wound to the Sabertusk. The Sabertusk, I don't know if he kills him or not, but I think he holds. Yeah, and they pass their leadership check to combat reform to bring them to face the Sabertusk. The Demigryphs go to town on the Ogres. I think I got the spell that I cast with Irresistible Force was Toothcracker. That makes them Toughness 5. So I kill 1 Demigryph, and they really just go nuts. I'm not stubborn and I'm not steadfast, but I pass my leadership check. So this is what the board looks like. Yep. The Hurricanum, I think, might have the Mournfang just for impact hits. Here's a close-up of what these combats look like. The Swordsmen kill the Sabertusk, but since they didn't charge that turn, they can overrun, so they just reform. On Ogres, this is Ogres turn 4, I want to say. 4 or 5. The Iron Guts and the Iron Blaster charge the Swordsman on the hill, and the Scrap Launcher comes in on the flank of the Hurricanum, which caused 2 wounds to the Mournfang, I guess, on the charge. I don't think it caused any wounds in return. I don't think the Mournfang caused any wounds in return. Now, the Iron Guts and the Iron Blaster, I think I roll an Ogre charge, so instead of having 1 impact hit for Ogre, they have D3 impact hits. They hit like a freight train. I think I probably rolled between the 4 Ogres, I probably rolled like 8 or 9 impact hits, plus another D6 impact hits from the Chariot. This just plows through Swordsmen because they can't take a parry save or any armor save against those kind of... Well, they can take the armor save against the Strength 4 impact hits. But against the Chariot, there's no armor saves just due to the subtracting rolls and all that. And then the Ogres themselves just go to town. They get 3 attacks each. They're only parries, and then stomps. The unit is incredibly depleted. He only can stay on a Snake Eyes, and he rolls Snake Eyes. Pretty bad news with the Greatswords coming around, plus the Demigryphs are probably going to rip through that unit on their turn. I don't really have much of a choice. Sure enough, the Demigryphs kill off some Bulls and break them. There's only 2 left. The Bulls flee, and the Demigryphs overrun into the flank of the Iron Guts. But either way, it's broke from combat, and with Leadership 7, there's a chance it won't rally. That leaves 1 Mournfang and the Scrap Launcher on the board. There we go. I think he got Occam's Mind Razor off on the unit of Swordsmen. They just whiffed. I mean, the Swordsmen with Occam's Mind Razor are actually pretty dangerous, but in this case, I believe they just whiffed. After combat, things are looking pretty grim for the Iron Guts. And the Bulls rally, and the Scrap Launcher and the Mournfang reform. Maybe they did run down the Hurricanum because I don't see it anymore. They reformed to face the Great Swords. The Scrap Launcher, I think, lands on target and kills a few more. Not really a big deal. The Demigryphs and the Swordsman kill off the remainder of the Iron Guts and reform to face the Bulls. Rallies. I think it had broken from combat earlier. Demigryphs declare a charge on the Bulls. The remainder of the Swordsmen, led by the captain with 1 wound, charge the Iron Blaster, and the Great Swords declare charges against the Mournfang and the Scrap Launcher with a redirect. Both flee. Hopefully they'll rally to save points. And the Swordsman dies to attacks from the Iron Blaster, but the captain manages to put more wounds on it, breaks it, and runs it down all by his lonesome. And the Demigryphs kill off the remaining 2 Ogres. That leaves me with 1 Mournfang. The Scrap Launcher does not rally on my turn and runs off the board, so I just called it. And that's a crushing victory for the Empire. They still have the captain, all the Great Swords, the Wizard Lord, the Warrior Priest, and the Demigryph. For, to nothing. So, crushing victory for the Empire. And here's what the board looks like at the end. I didn't go into as much depth with the charges and stuff because honestly, this match felt a little worse off once the level 4 went down to a miscast. But still, it's a good game. It was interesting to see the Ogres. I think the big takeaway is the Ogres have tremendous mobility, and Mournfang hit like a ton of bricks. They have a lot more difficulty supporting each other, I think. Gut Magic is alright, but you need to really stack a lot of it, and against an opponent who carries Dispel Scroll. Like, I didn't get a Dispel Scroll in my list, so Mike didn't have one. But if he did, it's very easy to just to save it for Troll Guts or save it for Toothcracker on a turn where you really need your guys to survive. I mean, Ogres can't really take that much of a hit in return. And as a parting shot, here's a shot of my BSB running down the Scrap Launcher by himself. Pretty happy with the way this model came out. I don't consider myself to be a very good painter, but I'm happy with this model. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed it. This was a little less in depth than the last video I recorded, and hopefully the sound issues have been worked out. I'm gonna see if this system works better than the others. Anyway, I have another battle report coming up, Empire versus Orcs and Goblins again. I hope you enjoy that. Thank you very much. Have a good one.